I have a question.
Yep.
Why aren't you better at your job? Why are there not sponsors every single episode?
Because I suck at my job.
Why?
These are a few of my favorite things.
But that actually fell through because I was telling them I'd be on this episode, and then they ended up not being ready for their sponsorship. So I didn't get a sponsor this week because it fell through.
Yeah.
But
Joe, when you have your fights, do you ever go out there with no sponsors whatsoever?
No, I'm professional. My manager is professional, and we make sure we have sponsors every single fight.
Wow.
I see how it is. Thanks, Joe.
I'm just now you look uncomfortable,
You
right?
got on my
Now you look
crap list.
uncomfortable.
You put on plastic wings as a kid to play?
Yeah.
And a
What do you
tutu.
mean?
You didn't do that? You didn't wear feather boas and tutus like
Usually a
Kyle?
thong.
I mean, I didn't spend much time with the local, LGBTQ center like Kyle did. So-
Not all
He
of
was
us can
that
do
kid at the
culture.
parade 25 years ago.
Yeah.
yeah, you were Kyle was the original transgender kid.
I was
no-
known as the Rainbow Warrior. I can't. My outfit was half rainbows and half Randy the Macho Man Savage. It was a mixture of my two favorite things in the world. Did you
two
ever play
very
pretend?
disparate things.
Did you
Oh,
play
yeah.
like,
Hell yeah,
imagination
pretend.
games like pretend
yeah.
shit? I mean, you had brothers, so maybe you didn't have to go to that as much. I just had a sister who was a fucking a cunt playing with her Barbies and shit. But like, I had to imagine stuff when I was like 7 years old and make my own fun. If I had some video games, but it was old video games. They were lame. So what would you do for your imagination games?
We do a lot of like cops and robbers, cowboys and Indians. When the Fellowship of the Ring came out, I think I was like 10 or 11. And so still young enough to like be fiddle fucking around outdoors and everything, but old enough to have a little bit of like building to that. And so we would do stuff like build a fortress and then have the orcs attack. And we would like build our own bows and arrows and stuff and shoot them at each other. And kids got hurt all the goddamn time. But it was like an understood thing with the neighborhood kids. Like if you get hurt playing assault on fucking Hobbiton or whatever it was if you want to play Mines of Moria with the cool kids and you want to be a goblin who's storming in to that burial chamber, and you have the biggest kid gets to be the cave troll.
I was about to say, is there a fat kid? Then the fat kid shows up. They have a cave troll.
See, I played the cave troll when I was on the assaulting side. The cave troll did not get a ranged weapon. That would be unfair. I got a large stick. And if I hit you hard enough with that stick to bring you to your knees, you were dead. But if I barely clipped you and you like got away, you were not dead.
This sounds amazing. See,
it was so much fun, dude.
My games were all imagination. When I was 5, I would put all my toys on the floor, and there would be imaginary battles, right? I'd separate them between fantasy and reality. So on the right would be the fantasy characters. He-Man and Skeletor would join forces, all right? There'd be a ton of stuff like that. And on the left, I had my army men with their army tank. And they'd have to face off against this barrage of Ninja Turtles and Star Wars characters and shit like that. And I would just sort of like make believe and make them fight. And that one died. Obviously no one beats He-Man and go about it that way. And then by the time I was like 7, I would take all of my electronics and put them on the bed like a command center around me, like video game controllers, like anything that was electronic and had buttons. And I would play space, right? I was like Bubbles, fucking pretend going to space and
all
operating my command mod. Yeah, all by myself. I didn't have anybody. Yeah.
I picture 12-year-old Taylor looking a little like he does now with the full beard and jacked as fuck, straight edge razor, and Lord Farquaad voice. Some of you may die. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. As he goes out there with this giant club and fucks up all the people who hit puberty at a normal time.
But it was
it's like
fun.
the guy from, he's like the guy from Gangs of New York who had the club that was his weapon of choice, and it had the notches carved on it from every man he killed.
It looked serrated at that point. Like, it's how many notches. Like, we played another game in my backyard, like where when we'd carpool, and there'd be a couple kids who'd always come back, and then of course, like you'd always hope, like, man, I hope my mom and her mom and his mom talk a lot so we can play outside and stuff until they go home, and that would always happen. And so then you get the neighborhood kids to come over, and I was like I said, it's not a meme. I was much bigger than other kids at the time, and we'd play a game where, did you guys ever do where you like stand in a big field? Our backyard was very large, and you grab someone by the wrists and you start spinning, kind of like when Mario throws Bowser. And it's a ton of fun because you don't let go like to try and hurt someone. The only time you would let go is if they like slip from your grasp, if you got going too quick. But like usually be like spin them around and like they're having a fun time, like they're on a fair ride and you're having a fun time because you get to like lean back super far as you're holding them and pretend that you're Mario throwing Bowser off of that platform in Mario 64. And one time, or no, this happened a few times, more than a couple times, it would get sweaty and I would let go of the kid and he would fly off, and very rarely did they get hurt. But one time specifically, it was a very small kid who didn't usually carpool with us, and he wanted to play too, not to be left out. And I was so determined to not let him go, to not ruin his experience of the first time, you know, because I want return customers. This is fun for me. And I spun this kid so goddamn hard that one of his shoulders came out of socket. That like he was like started crying in the middle of the spin, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, this is the fun part. Like, this is when you have fun. Like all the like my brothers and everybody else, like everybody's having a grand old time. Then he like got down and like like holding his elbow, went up to my mom, and I got yelled at.
I've never done that.
Really, you've never ever pissed in your car?
No. I've never beat off in my car. I've pissed in my car.
All right, let's
while
move
driving.
one at a time here.
Okay.
You sell tickets, and you get the fans out there at one point, when like chanting "wings," and they're all going "wings, wings, wings, wings," and they start flapping their arms. That would be the wings.
Dude, we could do like a PKA meetup where we watch it. We could rent a movie theater and just like live stream this shit. This would be so great. This is a PKA idea that's totally not happening. But like, I would love to watch.
But it's only wings because all Wings has to do, if we could get Wings and Syndicate on, they wouldn't do it. Damn it! It would be so
we
fun.
couldn't get 7, random bugs to duke it out in a cage. We're not going to rent Ohio Stadium and get a bunch of people in there to watch. That's fucking bananas.
I had legal concerns.
That we're going to orchestrate something where we involve ticket salesmen, brokers, mediums, all of these different avenues that take a lot of work. The three of us who couldn't get 6 bugs to fight in a small playoff are going to do that. No, that's nonsense. But it is funny.
It's not bad when a dog licks your toes. Put some peanut butter on there. See what's up.
Moving on.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Painkiller Already proudly presents to you the internet's #1 podcasting champions of the world, the Golden McDuck FPSKYLE, the Minecraft Mage Woody's Gamertag, the Submission Specialist Joe Lozon, and the cigar smoking, thesaurus toting, wheelchair rolling lefty, the Rape Squad Killers. Let's start the show.